Hey yo, what's up guys, Midway here, and today I bring some footage from the first boss in the new raid Sepulchre, the first ones. This boss doesn't really have a name yet, but according to the adventure guide it says his name is Giant Robot. But the fight itself is called Vigilant Guardian, so we'll just call it that for now. The boss is really similar to, well, it's not really similar, but it's a trash clearing fight, so you could equate it to basically Hellfire Assault in Hellfire Citadel, the first boss in that raid back in Warlords of Draenor. So being a trash clearing fight, it is not the best in the world. It is pretty long up until the boss that's stuck in the wall actually comes out, and the dealing with the trash, really, it's not really the most engaging thing ever, because even though they have some mechanics, they don't really do that much, especially now that's only heroic and the healing requirements for the fight are really low. Now, one thing that I'll say is I am playing a Necrolord Holy Paladin using the new tier set, and I am not really playing the best talents for this. I am actually running Double Beacon, which I shouldn't have really. Thinking about it, I should probably just be running Glimmer now that I'm not playing Marats, and I should probably also be running Crusader's Might instead of Light's Hammer, especially because we are moving around so much. But what you really want playing this setup Necrolord with a tier set is to just generate as much holy power as possible, and Crusader's Might would really help for that. As well as, now I would tell you guys, I'm not sure because I haven't looked at the logs because I was not live logging, but the mana consumption from playing this setup that I'm playing right now felt like way lower than what you would expect from playing a Marats Holy Paladin, as a Bented Holy Paladin in 9.1.5. So that being said, you know, you could probably get away with playing a little bit higher level of haste as well as playing Crusader's Might, and that would even increase more the wings uptime that you get from using the tier set. So how does Necrolord Holy Paladin feel with the tier set and playing Necrolord? It feels really hectic. Like you are constantly chasing, getting the next wings. As you see it right here, I just got done with the first wings that I used, and here comes the second set of wings. You just keep on lowering the CD of those wings, especially if you get lucky and you get a proc of Divine Purpose or Awakening. That just makes it even easier. Otherwise, you might have some situations where you actually don't get wings into wings. But like right here, for example, I have like 1 minute left on wings, but if you think about it, every Light of Dawn is 10 seconds away of wings if you hit 5 people with it. So you're just like 3 or 4 Lights of Dawn away from getting wings back. That's like nothing. The wings uptime from these fights on this boss for like an average was around 75%. And that's even with some pulls when I was dying and I was just like looking at it, and at that point was like 70, 73, 74, 75. Around there, that's the average of wings uptime that I managed to get. But yeah, like, gotta be said though, a lot of the extra healing from the 2-piece that you get from the tier set is going straight into overhealing. That is because the way that tier set is working is it's replicating the second instance of Light of Dawn onto the same targets that the first instance hit. So it's not a separate cast, it's actually just a replication of the healing done by that first Light of Dawn cast. And that means that that healing is going directly into the same characters, the same other players that you hit with the first Light of Dawn, most likely just contributing a lot to overhealing. And as you can see here on the screen, this is the overhealing that I got for this. Actually, it was not for this pull in particular, but for the last pull that I managed to do. This is the overhealing that I ended up with. As you can see, it is pretty massive, but this is the healing that I was doing. Light of Dawn is doing a lot more healing than you should expect. In particular, if you of course are playing Marats Holy Paladin, that's usually your top healing along with Double Beacon. Again, as I said, I was playing Double Beacon here, probably shouldn't have, especially with all the overhealing. Tanks not taking that much damage if they don't fuck up, so it could be even higher HPS, but this fight has pretty low healing requirements. Now the fight itself, let's talk a little bit about it. As you can see here, we're getting a little bit screwed up with our health, and that's because the fight consists of just clearing trash, and what you do with this trash that you're clearing is you're activating some big round boys that those other trash mobs that are like deactivated on the sides of the room at first. Those get activated as you kill trash next to them. So once they activate, they stand up and they have a circle around them. Now whenever the actual boss that's stuck in the wall Whenever he reaches 100 energy, he will do a big burst of AoE damage, and you need to be inside one of these big ads round boys circles, as you can see here in the screen. If you are not inside there, you will just get one shot. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. You just gotta get in there. The guys themselves, the round boys, they just activated without really much effort. Even if we were not really close to them, they just kept on activating pretty much by themselves. So it doesn't seem to be too much of an issue, at least in this difficulty. And they just remain activated forever. They don't have a duration. You don't have to time it properly or anything. At least, again, not in this difficulty. Then again, besides these big AoE and just killing trash, there is some pentagons, some swirlies that look like pentagons in this case, that you have to move out of. And then there's this like beam or arrow towards a player that will basically just spawn a bunch of hexagons directly from the boss towards the player. So you can bait that away from the raid. But it is pretty simple, just move out of them. They are not that big of a problem, although they do some damage. And in particular, if those hexagons spawn on top of the circle, like right here, they are a little bit harder to see because they basically look exactly the same as the ground effect from the big ad. So in that case, just kind of have to watch out a little bit more. But the fight has a lot of downtime. That is a pretty big downside of the fight, is that once you just get to this point where there's no more trash to clear, the boss still powering up, and I'm not sure if that's because we probably fucked up and we didn't get the orbs that we're supposed to get. So you are supposed to be getting some orbs from the trash that you're clearing. At some point they drop some orbs. I am not sure what mobs drop the orbs, but you just pick up those orbs. And then you go to the boss, you go next to the wall, and you actually use the extra action button. So basically you drop the orb on top of the boss and it does 15% of his HP. And the boss that's stuck on the wall, it spawns once he reaches a certain amount of HP. But here we go, another instance of big AoE damage. You stuck up. Big problem of this situation is there is nothing to hit, so you cannot generate much holy power, and this priest is not going to be able to do almost anything. So that's a pretty big downside for those R2 classes, but regardless, it doesn't seem to be too big of a problem. You probably just want to stack a lot of damage reduction anyway at that point and be good to go. So once we get to this point, the boss itself is going to come out of the wall. There we go. The big ball is now on the ground. He's gonna grow some legs, and there we go. Mike Wazowski has spawned. Now the boss will do some extra mechanics, you could call, but really he's only gonna do one more thing, and that is he's going to mark a target, and that target is gonna, after a couple seconds, spawn some orbs, or like it's gonna mark some swirlies in the ground, and the orbs are going to be moving from that location towards the boss. Now those orbs do a lot of damage, like right there you can see those orbs are moving now towards the boss, and they do a lot of damage. I'm not sure if they actually move towards the boss or towards the player that got marked. Regardless though, you can just move away from those, although it was bugged during the test, and you could just pretty much get one shot by the mechanic, even though you were not on top of the orbs, and even though the mechanic itself, getting hit by one of the orbs, it's not supposed to do that much damage. It's supposed to do about 20k, and people were getting hit about 50k, basically your entire HP bar. As well as the orbs spawning where they're supposed to spawn next or around the player that gets marked, so they can just move out and that's it, but they still seem to spawn near players in melee, even though the person is moving out. I'm not exactly sure if that is intended or not. But regardless, now the last phase, as you can see, not that much is going on. We're still just dodging swirlies, and now we have some more swirlies to dodge. That's about it, not really. Once we get to 15%, the boss will go into like a... It's basically just a DPS race. I couldn't tell what you call this phase, but whatever. He just opens up, the core is exposed, and he starts doing a lot of ticking damage. And this ticking damage ramps up every 3 seconds, and you end up just getting almost one shot every time. So yeah, it's just a DPS race. You just gotta save Lust for this point, pop Lust, hopefully everybody is alive, and just have healing CDs for this point. It is going to be doing a lot of damage to the point where you almost get one shot. So at this point the fight should be over if you have enough people alive and enough DPS. Problem is, the fight itself is really boring up until this point, and it all just comes down to how clean you manage to do it so you have enough people alive to this point. Is that a good fight? I wouldn't really say so, although to be fair, maybe from a DPS point of view and just AoEing shit down, it's not that bad. I don't know, it's not the best fight in the world really. Regardless though, Holy Paladin playing Necrolord and playing the new tier set feels pretty good. It feels pretty hectic, just constantly chasing those new wings, having wings almost 80% of the time up. It is just insane. Although it's probably going to get nerfed. Regardless though, a lot of it is going into overhealing, a lot of that extra power, at least in this case where there's not that much healing requirement. It is just going into overhealing. So we could see Holy Paladin being really strong, we could not, I don't know, well, it depends on the tuning that's gonna happen soon, most likely, I would assume. But regardless, hope you enjoyed that video, hope you find it useful. Any questions, please drop them in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the new video, and yep, bye bye.